Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, you've given us something really special to sink our teeth into.
Definitely something different.
Yeah, this is amazing hypothetical scenario, a next-generation battle royale. It's not just theory, though.
Yeah.
It's based on a full cinematic breakdown.
Right, complete with dialogue, fight scenes, the works, all set years after the war, back in the ruins of Marineford.
Exactly. So our mission today is to really unpack this imagined clash.
Hmm?
We're going to look at the key matchups, the strategies these huge characters use, and maybe uncover some surprising results along the way.
And the setting, Marineford.
Yeah.
It's just perfect, isn't it? The source paints this picture of like tension, storm clouds gathering, and then these two massive teams land on opposite sides of the battlefield. You can almost feel it.
You really can. And what teams? So on the left, Team A, you've got Marco, Crocodile, Sabo, Sanji, and Ichiji.
A powerhouse lineup.
Totally. And then on the right, Team B, Garp, Mihawk, Luffy, and this is Gear 5 Luffy we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Law and Lucci. I mean, what a roster.
Yeah. And the source kicks things off immediately with some great dialogue. You hear Luffy kind of smirking, right? Look like we got some familiar faces here. Let's make this fun.
Classic Luffy.
And Sabo fires back like, Luffy, you sure you're ready to go all out this time? Challenging him. But then Garp, he gets serious. Real serious. This isn't a training session. Anyone who holds back will be buried here. Chills.
Sets the stakes high.
Absolutely. And Marco just flares his wings. Let's light up the sky then. And boom, the next second, it's just chaos. Color, fire, lightning, shockwaves everywhere. No warming up.
Wow. Okay, that's quite an opening. So let's unpack this. Maybe start with one of the biggest initial clashes. A real heavyweight bout.
Yeah, the source jumps right into Marco versus Garp. Marco swoops in, agile as ever, and kind of taunts him. Still packing that insane punch, old man.
Uh-huh. Bold move. And Garp's response.
Just pure confidence? You'll find out soon enough. Simple as that.
And Marco definitely finds out. The description sounds intense. Marco using his blue flames, aerial attacks, regenerating. He's got to be hard to hit.
Incredibly hard. But Garp.
Yeah.
All about timing and power. The source says he uses advanced haki, perfectly timed, just coats his fist.
And connects.
Oh, connects big time. Slams Marco right into the ground. The shockwave is apparently huge, like splits the island huge.
Whoa. That's insane power.
Right. Marco is shown panting, half regenerated, just saying, "You're as monstrous as ever."
And Garp, still confident.
Grinning, according to the source. I haven't even started yet. So yeah, Garp takes the first win, clearly. Leaves him a bit winded, but it's a win.
Okay, so Garp makes a huge statement right off the bat. Pure power, overcoming that mythical regeneration. Interesting.
Well, it really shows the peak of haki mastery, doesn't it?
Definitely. Okay, so from that raw power, let's shift gears. The next one sounds like a battle of precision versus, Thand. This is where it gets really interesting, I think.
Yeah, Crocodile versus Mihawk. And Crocodile starts with the trash talk, right? Try cutting sand, swordsman. Mocking him.
Classic Crocodile.
Yeah.
And Mihawk, still the calm, collected swordsman.
Absolutely. Just draws Yoru, that massive black blade, and says, "You underestimate the edge of absolute skill." So cool.
Love it. So Crocodile does his thing. Sandstorms, dehydration attacks.
Yep, tries to overwhelm Mihawk with his Logia powers, floods the area with sand, tries the Sable's attack.
Mihawk.
Just cuts through everything. Pinpoint precision. The source mentions Crocodile even tries a desert coffin.
Oh, the big sand trap move.
Right, but Mihawk uses observation Haki, predicts it instantly, and just slices right through it, and the Haki-infused slash hits Crocodile directly.
Ouch. So that settles it pretty quickly then.
Seems like it. Crocodile's shown bleeding, but he's still got that smirk, Acknowledges Mihawk. You really are the world's strongest. So, Mihawk wins. Cleanly.
Wow. Another decisive win for Team B. Shows the limits of Logia against top-tier Hakiki, I guess.
Exactly. Absolute skill, like Mihawk said.
Okay, from precision cutting sand, let's move to probably the most anticipated fight. The one that's packed with emotion.
Ah, yes. Sabo versus Luffy. Brother versus brother.
The dialogue sets it up perfectly. Sabo says, "Let's see how strong the Flame Emperor is against the Sun God."
And Luffy fires right back, grinning, "I'm not the same little brother anymore. The energy must be incredible."
The description of the fight sounds insane. Sabo's fire clashing with Luffy's Gear 5, that Toon Force stuff.
Oh, it's wild. Luffy's literally bending reality, bouncing buildings, the ground turns to rubber. He even pulls out a Bajring gun.
That giant Hakacheki fist.
The massive one, yeah.
Yeah.
And Sabo's giving it his all dragon claw fire pillar. It's a high-speed, chaotic clash.
But the source mentions a flashback. to the
Yeah,
face.
yeah, a really poignant moment. Both brothers smiling in the memory. And then Luffy, tears streaming, shouts, "I won't lose," because Ace is watching us.
Wow. That must have shifted things.
It seems like it fueled him. The source describes Sabo being overwhelmed after that. He's defeated, but he says something really profound from the rubble, apparently smiling.
What does he say?
"You really are joy itself."
Oh, man. That hits hard. So Luffy wins?
Luffy wins, a victory with a lot of emotional weight behind it. It really shows Gear 5 isn't just power, it's joy, boy. Freedom.
Unstoppable freedom, it sounds like. Okay, wow. After that emotional peak, let's look at a pairing that sounds like a real nail-biter, maybe unexpected. Sanji versus Law.
Yeah, this one's interesting. Strategy versus instinct, almost. Law starts off clinically, "I'll make this surgical."
And Sanji,
Yeah.
ever the smooth talker.
He lights a cigarette, naturally. "Better be careful, Doc. You're not operating on a corpse yet." Classic Sanji bravado.
So Law goes for his usual tactics. Room, shambles.
Tries to, yeah. But Sanji's speed is apparently off the charts now. Uses invisibility, that Ifrit Janbei fire kick. He's dodging and weaving through Law's spatial attacks.
So Sanji's speed counters Law's devil fruit.
It seems so. Sanji's kicking apart the terrain while Law's trying K-Room, Shock Will, those internal damage attacks. It's described as incredibly dynamic.
How does it end? It sounds super close.
Razor thin, Law goes for a finishing move, Puncture Will. Sanji dodges just in time. Then, as Law tries to teleport away,
Sanji catches him.
mid-teleport, with a flaming spinning kick, catches him completely off guard.
No way.
Yeah, Law's reaction is apparently pure surprise. "You've improved. Damn."
And Sanji's reply has to be good.
Of course. Wipe some blood. Not bad for a cook, right? So Sanji takes it. Barely.
Wow. Sanji beats Law. That's huge for Team A. Finally a point on their side. Shows how much Sanji's grown.
Definitely highlights his speed and hockey development. Even Law couldn't quite pin him down.
Okay, incredible. So one last individual fight. Different factions clashing here. Ichiji versus Lucci.
Right. Germa Tech versus CP0's finest. Ichiji starts cold, calls Lucci CT0 trash.
Ooh, fighting words. Lucci wouldn't take that well.
Not at all. Goes full Leopard Zone awakening right away. We'll see who's trash. Fury?
So Ichiji uses his Germa suit. Beams. Explosions.
Yeah, the Sparking Valkyrie stuff, long-range attacks. But Lucci, in his awakened form, is just described as a blitz. Incredible speed, relentless attacks, using Rokugan.
Internal shockwave punch. Nasty.
No, exactly. Ichiji's suit lets him tank some hits initially, but the source says Lucci just adapts, gets faster, stronger, presses the advantage.
So the awakened Zoan power is just too much.
It seems that way in this scenario. Lucci finishes it decisively. Rokugan to the gut, then a Renkaku barrage, those air-slicing kicks.
Oof. So Lucci wins.
Lucci wins, mid-difficulty is how the source puts it. Shows the raw power and adaptability of an awakened Zoan.
Okay, so that wraps up the individual fights. Let's look at the score. What's the bigger picture here?
Well, if we tally it up, Garp beat Marco, Mihawk beat Crocodile, Luffy beat Sabo, Sanji just beat Law, and Lucci beat Ichiji.
So it's 4 wins for Team B, 1 win for Team A.
Exactly. A pretty dominant 4-1 victory for Team B overall in this imagined battle royale.
Wow. So Team B really ran the table, except for that one upset by Sanji. What does that suggest, you think, within this scenario's logic?
Well, it seems to heavily favor different types of peak power on Team B. You've got Garp's pure Halaki mastery, Mihawk's absolute skill with a blade, Luffy's reality-bending Gear 5, and Lucci's awakened Zoan prowess. Maybe it suggests these are the dominant power types in this future vision.
Interesting take. And how does the whole thing end? The source mentions some concluding moments.
Yeah, it wraps up nicely. Luffy's apparently bloodied but buzzing, already eager for more. Garf's laughing proudly.
Proud grandpa.
Totally. And Mihawk gives Luffy this rare nod like, "You're getting closer to being the king."
High praise from Mihawk.
Huge praise. And then Sabo from the rubble, he smiles and says, "Looks like the future's in good hands." Kind of sums it all up.
That's actually, yeah, really profound. Despite the loss, seeing Luffy's power gives him hope.
Exactly. It shows how even these hypothetical battles can tell us a lot about the characters, their growth, the power dynamics. It's not just about who punched harder, you know.
Absolutely. It's the strategy, the emotion, the implications. That final line from Sabo, "The future's in good hands," especially if you're seeing Gear 5. It really makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. What does that specific outcome, Luffy's overwhelming joy-fueled power, really suggest about the ultimate balance? And maybe, yeah, destiny in the One Piece world.
Definitely something to ponder. Well, this is an incredible scenario to break down. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.